sanctioned an analytical study on training needs of the SHG members in Chamoli and Tehri district to Sadhan. So Sadhan has submitted the first draft report of the study in December. On draft report, RO has suggested or have given some comments. Accordingly, sir, taking into account the RO suggestion and comments, Sadhan has revised the report and submitted on 6th February. And today, sir, they are going to make presentation on the revised report. And sir, from Sadhan side with us today is Dr. is there and Dr. Amrish, Madam Sangeeta is there and Dr. Krishna is there from Sadhan side. We welcome you all. And sir, can we start the presentation?
Yeah.
And I think from Sadhan, Dr. Paul is going to make presentation. Dr. Paul, only our one request
so
is that
from Sadhan, I will initiate. Somehow the voice is interrupting. I don't know. Is it from Nabard's end or
yes,
our
yes.
end? Okay.
I'm getting the same issue. I am unable to hear Swati.
No, it is now. It is okay now. Yeah.
Dr. Paul.
Yeah. Hi. How are you, sir?
I'm
Good
fine.
to see you.
Yeah. Welcome all of you. Paul Saab and the entire team of Sadhan. Actually, one small request is that we have another VC at around 4:15. So kindly, if
before
it
that.
is
Yeah. We
possible.
will make it very precise presentation. No problem at all. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I mean, it is really very eye-opening thing that what's the status of, especially in the segment of like skill versus training. And the major thing we could figure out that, I mean, I will go a little bit deeper and from this little bit of introduction, this knowledge partner, SAISV, Krishna is from there. So SAISV works with us for giving us the inputs and preparing the data. They work integratedly with the Sadhan and under our guidance and everything. Because Sadhan is a small team, so we take help of them and we work closely with them. And we also go to field along with them on a sample basis. This is how Sadhan works. So one of the major thing we were seeing that the skill versus training provided is there is a big gap over there. That's the major observation. The second observation that people really do not have skill, which is sellable skill. Third observation that ecosystem is not really very developed over there, apart from one or two. And there is a major scope of what do you call it, ecosystem development over there and capacity building. I think this study is an eye-opening study. We could interview like 365 SHG members of 116 equally divided in Chamoli and Tehri Garhwal. And I would like to request Krishna to take it from here and do the presentation. And we will also be chipping. Also, the thing what we have done, we have developed, as Ms. Sati was telling, that we have done the study and then we sent it to NABARD. Then there were certain observations we have put it in our revised study. Then once again, I could figure out, like Sadhan could figure out that there is a bit of gap over there. Then once again, we worked, then we sent like a draft report to NABARD. So over to you, Krishna, if you can do this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So we have already shared the draft. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll briefly present what are the key findings and what are the key areas that the team observed during our visit to Tehri Garhwal and Chamoli and interacting with the SHG members and the other stakeholders. So we have a presentation for this. Just.
और ये वाला कब होगा जो है आज लिखा
सर, ये कल डिस्बर्स कर देंगे क्योंकि एप्लीकेशन आ रही है।
So
43 तो कल
the screen is
करो सर, देहरादून से
पूरा हो जाएगा।
वो ऐड करके भेजिए,
करके डाला है।
ऐड करके 362 हो जाए।
इसका क्या बोला जाएगा?
यूजीबी का सर हमारा अभी आउटस्टैंडिंग 30 है, क्योंकि 21 उसने रिपे कर दिया था बिकॉज एसओ लेना था, तो उसके साथ सर इशू है जीएलसी। जीएलसी उतना है नहीं उसका, इसकी वजह से वो ले नहीं पा रहा था। अभी 4 करोड़ इसमें
F5 से हो जाएगा कृष्णा।
ये हो पाएगा मेरे ख्याल से।
इट्स ओके ना?
नहीं, वो फुल स्लाइड जो होता है ना नीचे आपका, जो
नहीं तो
आउटस्टैंडिंग में
फुल स्लाइड शो हो रहा है ना?
I
द
don't
फुल
think
स्लाइड इज विजिबल।
slide is
अच्छा है।
visible, but ये full screen नहीं है, full screen कर दीजिए।
भी नहीं है।
जीएलसी सर अगर
सर F5 प्रेस कर दीजिए
हां एल
सर, F5 प्रेस कर दीजिए। आपके लैपटॉप में होगा ना, तो F5 का बटन प्रेस करेंगे फुल स्क्रीन हो जाएगी।
31 करोड़ का मैंने
F5
दिया था तो।
F5 का F5।
और अगर सर फर्दर अगर अभी आता है उनके पास से
हाँ
एप्लीकेशन
ये F5 भी किया है मैंने, मेरे में तो दिख रहा है full screen। अच्छा,
इस साल का
फुल स्क्रीन
33 करोड़ का ही उनका एलिजिबिलिटी बन रहा था, जिसमें से 31 हमने दे दिया है।
वो वाला एक्सप्लोर किया गया,
इसका मतलब दूसरा वाला
पुराने वाला।
सर पुराने वाला अभी किया नहीं है, अभी तो सर ये एसओ और एसओ की एप्लीकेशन के
देख लेना उनको पूछा।
सर एक्चुअली 22-23 का भी दे रहे थे ना, लेकिन एसटी अदर्स की सर अगर रेसिडेंट है तो, लेकिन वो 12 महीने का ही देंगे पीरियड।
क्या रहेगा कहानी?
सर इसमें हमारा अभी एलटीआरसीएफ के लिए हमने 38.77 करोड़ की एलटीआरसीएफ के लिए भेज रखा है एचओ का अप्रूवल। इसके अगेंस्ट में जो एलटी नॉर्मल था वो हमने डिस्बर्स कर दिया है।
मतलब इंक्लूडिंग है,
ये इंक्लूडिंग है 299.78, और इसमें 5 करोड़ का भेजा हुआ है। तो मे भी 1-2 दिन में वो लोग बता देंगे, मे बी बाय मंडे।
रोल है हमारे पास।
कृष्णा जी
हाँ
प्लीज शेयर द स्क्रीन एज।
नहीं वो अभी सर बात कर रहे हैं ना, इसलिए मैंने नहीं किया।
उसको जूम करके फुल कर दीजिएगा, ठीक है? आई टोल्ड कि उसमें जो है दिख नहीं रहा है प्रॉपर।
अच्छा तो अगर ये जो
अभी दिख रहा है,
ये है और इसमें क्या है?
इसमें 5 करोड़
अभी दिख रहा है
+5 है।
20+5।
इज इट विजिबल नाउ अमरीश जी?
सर एसटीसीबी के पास तो
दिख रहा है, दिख रहा है।
विजिबल है, इसको फुल स्क्रीन कर दीजिए, फुल स्क्रीन।
नहीं फुल स्क्रीन ही किया।
सर आपके जो नीचे पीपीटी को वो करने के लिए ना,
यूजीबी से
बड़ा करने के उसके बगल में साइड से बनाओ, उसमें एक करके हो जाएगी। ये भी स्लाइड मोड पे है।
आप कर दीजिए वो।
लेकिन बाद में कहेंगे ना कि एलटीआर आपने तो 25 बाई रेशियो 25:1 का किया हुआ है।
हाँ
दिस नीड्स टू बी इंक्रीज्ड।
सर वो बोला हुआ है,
दैट इज व्हाट दे विल से। क्या करें यूजीबी के बारे में?
सर यूजीबी को बोला हुआ तो है, उससे मैं उम्मीद थी कि 10 की दे देगा, लेकिन उसने 1 करोड़ की दिया है।
नहीं उनके पास जीएलसी नहीं, दिक्कत है।
सर वो स्लाइड शो यहाँ लिखा होगा ना, स्लाइड शो में लिख लीजिए।
जगह बताओ नीचे राइट ऐसे।
हाँ सर, इससे थोड़ा सा और, हाँ इसके साइड थर्ड वाला सर, इसके हाँ सर, इसके बगल वाला, हाँ इसमें क्लिक कीजिए सर। मैंने 2-3 वाला फॉर्मेट है।
एडवांस केसेस जो हमने पुशबैक किए थे ना, एज पर न्यू
क्या नाम अमित?
अभी शो हो रहा है ना स्लाइड पूरा?
Deepak, shall I share the PPT to you?
या अमरीश आप शो कर दीजिए पीपीटी।
मैं शेयर कर दूं क्या? मैं शेयर कर दूं क्या? नाबाद को वो अपना रन कर लें।
जो
मैं
virtual-
ठीक है, आप हमें शेयर कर दीजिए, हम शेयर कर देंगे।
Only एक रह रहा
एक वर्कशॉप रह गई है, एक
नेक्स्ट
मैंने
वीक हो
स्टॉप
रही है
कर दिया। अमरीश जी आप शो कर लीजिए।
वाला इसका स्टेटस है।
एक इसका है बस। जो डाटा है ना वो मांगा हुआ है, वो एक बार आ जाए तो बस वो भी ठीक है।
कहानी ये है कि हमारा कितना अमाउंट है 143
सर
कितना आपने बोला कि हमारे पास आ चुके हैं
143 इन एडिशनल।
अमरीश जी आप स्लाइड शो कर लीजिए। आई विल
ऑल
प्रेजेंट।
मैंने भेज दिया दीपक को, दीपक उसको रन कर लेंगे।
43 तो कितना है?
एमसीआईडी या मेरा पर्सनल ईमेल?
एमसीआईडी
ओके।
और ये कितना 74 दूसरा है।
तो 217
SSCP का नाम है।
217
दीपक जी
74.21
आपका किसका है?
Additional है।
ऐसे होगा
जी।
और ऐसे हो कितना है?
74।
वो देवदूत कुछ भेजा है, मुझे कॉपी मार्क नहीं किया है। नहीं किया है शहबाज, मुझे मिला ही नहीं। वो उसको आदत है, आपको भेजेगा तो मुझे कॉपी मार्क नहीं। हाँ क्या हो रहा है पता नहीं।
सर आप स्टार्ट कर लीजिए। स्क्रीन तो दिख रही होगी ना सर कोई?
हाँ बोलिए।
आप स्टार्ट कीजिए, तब मैं मतलब मैं नेक्स्ट करता रहूंगा ऐसे।
Okay, ठीक है. So this project is on the training needs assessment of the SHGs in two districts of Uttarakhand. That is the Tehri Garhwal and Chamoli. Next slide, sir.
उसका जरा देखो यार, विकसित भारत पर क्या है
हाँ
कहानी?
जी
ये मेरे ख्याल से इतने लोगों के साथ हो रहा है तो जनरल होगा ये।
सर, काफी लोगों का है।
The geography and the sample size, as we have mentioned in the report also and in the presentation, that it's Tehri Garhwal and Chamoli, two of the key districts of Uttarakhand. The total sample size that we took was 365 SHG members from 116 SHGs in both the districts. Okay, next we can go.
Third point.
Okay, the key stakeholders of this whole study, as you can see in the picture. So there are the key players at the district level, like the SRLM, NABARD, the local NGOs. I think the local NGOs play a very important role there because they conduct a lot of trainings in connection with NABARD. Then there are many private and public sector players in the skill space. So we have just tried to cover them also. It's there in the slide later on. The industries are also one of the key like stakeholders in this study, because whatever products that are being prepared by the SHGs, so these industries play a very important role in marketing of that produce. And bankers definitely,
चिल्लाओ नहीं ना
because for any activity that money is involved, some capacity building training needs are required. So the bankers were also a key stakeholders. We met quite a few bankers in both the districts.
राजू
Next we can go. So the methodology adopted
अभी
in
चुप
our
रहिए
this study was basically the IPDC framework, that is the inception, preparatory, data collection and conclusion. So in inception phase, we did a lot of desk research also. We tried to get as many reports with related to the trainings and the skill of the SHGs, particularly in these districts. Then the stakeholder analysis was also done. The research design and sampling technique was also finalized in consultation with the NABARD RO. First inception report was also shared. Then the preparation of the tools like a full-fledged questionnaire was developed for the SHG women. Then also for other stakeholders like the bankers, the training institutions, the industries, we prepared a simple questionnaire like a key informant interview type of thing. And then in the data collection, we did quantitative data collection. Our data collection team went to both the districts and met all the SHG members and collected a lot of data that is presented very detailed in the report. But some excerpts we are also presenting in the presentation here. Then some key informant interviews with stakeholders like the DDM, the LDM, the SRLM representative in the districts, and also some training institution and some private training players and NGOs also, we interviewed them. And then in the conclusion phase, yes, we did the data analysis, tried to bring it out in the form of a tables and graphs and presented in the form of a draft report, and then it's going on. Next, we can go. Okay, next, key findings. We'll come directly to the findings because we have a little less time, but this is a very important and interesting thing. When we did the socio-economic profile, we are trying to present in one slide. I think 82% of the women were engaged in some sort of economic activity, very partly or little bit, because some or the other trainings has been imparted in the past also. But when it comes to the annual income, we really see that less than 50,000, we have like almost 60% of the population, like 50,000 per annum. So per month, it's like coming around less than 5,000 or something. 4,700 is something that came. In terms of education also, what we saw that, yes, education standard was quite good because almost 40%, almost 50-55% were above 9th and 10th and graduation. So I think education level was quite good. Only 23% were between 6th to 8th standard. And the annual average income, as I told also, it's coming around 42,000. So which is not that great. Next we can go. And this also shows that yes, there is a lot of requirement of some training needs or some skill development or income generating activities that will enhance the income of the household through the SHGs. Next we can go. Okay, we in the research we also try to find out some thing about the savings and the loan and the SHG, because we got an opportunity to interact with so many SHGs, and very interestingly we found that almost 50% had not taken loan, which is quite which was quite surprising, because we do studies across India, and Uttarakhand a little bit different we found. So we tried to go deep into it. We found that actually because the people were not able to do some income generating activities and generate enough income to repay the loan. So even though the loan facility was available, they were not taking the loan. And the average saving amount also in the SHG was quite less. It's close to 15,000. So for the whole group, so that is also on the lower side when we compare with the national data. Next we can go.
5 crore हमने और भी recommend किया हुआ head office को release होने 25.
The livelihood aspect. So I think this was a very important aspect of our study. What are the major challenges that the people are facing with respect to the different livelihood aspects? So or the income generating activities. So we found majority was lack of marketing. So 32% lack of marketing, even 18% they themselves told that yes, there is some mismanagement when we do some or the other business activity. So we are not very keen in that. Lack of knowledge, and then input sourcing, and then some also told they don't know. And again, we see the marketing support comes out as the major thing. Like 48% stated that this self-market their products. So when we talk to the SHGs, so it was really quite a very astonishing figure that they have to market some of the produce that they prepare even after the what you call the trainings. And this particularly, there was one instance in Tehri Garhwal also, that they had manufactured agarbattis and almost 50-60,000 worth of their agarbattis could not be marketed because there was no support for them. And then the majority, like 76% sell products in local traders and 18% in the nearby markets. So we can see that almost 90% of whatever is they are producing or they are making some products, so they are selling in the local market, and definitely in the local market they will not get that better a price. So next we can go. So yes, this I have already told that we try to understand the SHG bank linkage program also. The different data we collected, so it's presented quite in detail in the report. With record keeping, we found that yes, around 40% were aware. In banking operations, almost 67% were aware. The internal lending rules also more than 60% were quite aware. Credit linkage process, 60% were aware, but they were not availing that facility that much. And grading of the groups and also the aims and objectives. So overall, we found that yes, the SHG program is running quite well, but it is only towards till the satisfactory level or just above satisfactory. It's not going at a higher level so that it makes a remarkable change in the lives of the SHG women. But this data is presented in the report. Next we can go. Just previous slide. Yeah, skill sets of SHGs. This was very important when we try to
Not
understand
myself.
the training
And
needs
Mr. Ford
assessment,
said
so we
tourism.
gave a
The
lot
first
of
one
focus
is that your
on
friend, he
identifying the
tries his
skill
stake
set
and then he
composition
pulls you.
of the SHG
You pull
women,
salt and then you focus.
and
I
this
like people
is
who try
presented
things
in
before
both
they make
Tehri and Garhwal and Chamoli district. So what we
Second and
found
most
that
important reason of them all, your friend
handicrafts,
was polite
weaving,
with all the waiters
knitting,
saying thank you and please. They were
and
invisible for
then
you, all
some
the
primary
waiters. You only
processing.
were polite when you
So
were
they had a
addressing
very
me.
good
So a great
skills in that.
leader, somebody you want
Almost
to win at your
17-18%
organization, doesn't
of
have
the
to see a hierarchy. He
population
has to see
told that
human
they had a
beings.
skill or they had some prior experience. In dairy, only 8% showed some skills. In beekeeping, 5% showed skills. Tourism was very interesting that almost it stood out that 22% told that yes, tourism is something, or homestay is something that they are also looking forward to it. But because they are not trained in that, so they were not undertaking any such activity. Only few were undertaking. So this was a very interesting thing for the skill sets of SHGs. Next, we can go. Yeah, products. Just before this, sir, one slide before this. So from from the skill sets, we derived that these were the key products of the SHGs, like which the SHGs can offer, like packaging, homestay. There was a lantana furniture in Chamoli. Then homestay management stood quite well. Food processing, yes, that was also one of the product. And dhoop agarbatti making, puja material preparation. So these are all the products, or these are the probable aspects in which the SHGs can be further trained, even though they have received some training. So which we'll see in the next slide. What is the gap? The next slide, please. Okay. So this is also very interesting because when we saw that in Chamoli and Tehri Garhwal, so how many of the majority of the respondents, they say that they have received training or not received training. So in Chamoli, I think 64% of the respondents stated that they did not receive any training in the last year, because 1 year we asked, not very far, and 36% stated that they have received at least one training in the last 1 year. Okay. And coming to the areas or trainings versus the skill sets. So this is a comparison that is showing that
the major gap.
Major
that
gap.
they do have the skills, but they are not trained in those areas.
Correct. So the green graph, I think, is showing that yes, they have 18% of the population have the skills, but only 5% had received the training in weaving, knitting, or what you say, the stitching. Tourism and homestay, that stood quite like 22% were interested. They had some skills, but only 2% have received the trainings. On the other hand, in agriculture or agri-allied related activities, so they have received more training. And women were particularly not that very, what you call, interested or willing to undertake the agri-related vocations or income generating activities. But a lot of trainings in the past has been like 17% they told that they have received the training, but then they could not do any further activity after the training. So I think this shows a lot of disconnect in what is actually the skills of the people and what are the areas of training provided so far.
Even in the Gotari also, we have seen the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah, a little bit, but not as a big gap like agriculture.
Yes. Okay, next we can go. So now how to translate the training into the economic activity. So we have done this, that the majority of the respondents stated that training has not been able to help in the betterment of livelihood or starting new economic activity. So usually when we talk to the SHG members, they say the otherwise, but here in Uttarakhand, we were quite happy that people were quite vocal and they were telling what is the actual thing there. So they told that, yes, sir, in the last 2-3 years, 4 years, we have received certain trainings, but beyond training, it has not gone much. 1 or 2 people have undertaken that activities, and also because no marketing support was provided or no further reinforcement was provided. So actually they did not undertake. So that's why we see that in Terry Garhwal also the no percentage is quite high, 82%. And yes is less, yeah. Chamoli also the similar case. Okay. Next, we can go. Now coming to certain areas, the training areas that are quite helpful or that may support the people that we have identified, and it's presented here. That some technological related support in the crop production will definitely help them. Agro processing was one thing that is being told, but actually could not be practiced much, so people did not undertake. Marketing, yes, linking them to the different marketing channels. And in handicraft particularly, they told handicraft technology and design, because the current design or something that they are able to make, they say that there is no market for that. And in the local market also it hardly sells. So they stop doing that. But if a technology and some design related training is given to the women of the SHGs, so they will definitely be able to do good. Packaging and branding, yes, for the agri or agro-based processing part, packaging and branding also training is the area where we think, when we talk to the people, we thought we came out to know that yes, it is required. And very interestingly, the homestay and facility management. So because even Terry Garhwal is also on the way to it is in midway in the Char Dham Yatra, and Chamoli, definitely it's very near to Badrinath. So a lot of activities related to homestay and facility management can be undertaken there. Next. Okay, the training area requirement within the SHG bank linkage program. So when we talked of the SHG bank linkage program also, we just tried to find out that what are the training that has been undertaken, and people have told very much, means they have told everything about record management, then credit linkage process, conflict management, and investment instruments also. So these are the areas that the women themselves told that we need more training in these areas. So we see the blue bars in all the 5 related aspects of SHG bank linkage program. Next. Okay, the training infrastructure also. So we had a study of the training infrastructure in the area, both the districts we tried to find out, and then we saw that yes, I think RCT definitely exists in both the districts. SRLM has extensive presence in both the districts, and they have done a training related to food processing, agri, dairy, agarbatti making, mushroom cultivation, organic farming, and all. And Uttarakhand Skill Development Mission actually was found in Terry Garhwal, and yes, they did some training related to the hospitality and tourism industry. But I think that is the area where more and more trainings are all needed. That was not much sufficient for the people, the women living in the rural areas and all. Next. So there were other players also in our study. When we were there, we could find there were institutions like the Tata Strive Skill Development Center who are training on the paper bags and saloon. Then there is a Jadi Buti Shodh Evan Vikas Sansthan. So they provide specialized trainings on the medicinal plants, and there is quite a good infrastructure also. There are some private players also who provide training in the food processing and all. But when we asked the SHG women, they did not have much access to these institutions. In some programs, few women told that they have gone, but it was not very significant. So I think that linkage can also be looked at. Next. Okay, the focus sectors based on the stakeholder discussion. So directly we will come to the sectors based on the discussions with the different stakeholders as well as the SHG women. So, sorry. Yeah. So I think horticulture and floriculture in Terry Garhwal that emerged as a quite a good sector.
5 मिनट
Food and
चुप रहे
agro-based processing industries such as fruit pulp, sauce, ketchup, pickle, food packaging units. Then the handloom and handicraft industries, the wool processing unit, ready-made garment center. But yes, with new design and technology in this. Then the soft skill development was one thing I think that is not done much and that is very much required in the homestay and facility management thing. So developing skilled manpower for tourism and hospitality sector. So I think this can be one of the focus areas. Next slide, please. Yeah, for Chamoli also, I think the tourism, food processing and horticulture development came out very clearly as the focus sectors where the more and more trainings and pretty long-term trainings along with linked with the production and marketing has to be done for better and good results for the SHG women and the families. Next, we can go. I think we have a couple of more slides. Okay, so again, floriculture, design and technology, I already mentioned that the emerging need for training to upgrade the technology and production techniques are coming because the women were very able to tell that in the local market, whatever they are making, it's a very limited market. So they are not able to either send it outside or get a very good price for their products. Because a community, Bhotia community was there found in Chamoli and they are involved in the woolen industry. So a more better training can be given so that the particularly the income of the SHG women also can increase after that activities. Next. Okay. So this is interesting. What are the key areas where the forward and the backward linkages will help, and what is the functional viability of the activities that we are suggesting? So as I told that, yes, handloom and handicraft, tourism, floriculture and horticulture. In these we have mentioned the different backward and forward linkages, like the design inputs and technology intervention will be the backward linkage, and the forward linkage will be the development of the supply chain and the marketing channels. So I think these both we are found lacking, and that is why even though some trainings has been given in handicraft and handlooms, but the market was not profitable. So the functional viability also we can see that it is profitable. However, the margins are very low due to outdated design and lack of supply chain issues. So I think the focus has to be more on, yes, training has to be there, but then the backward linkage and the forward linkage, some support has to be also linked to the SHGs. Then only a good result can come.
Major area was the design inputs over there and make it market viable, interesting. Although there is this handloom, there is major, interest of people in handloom and handicrafts, but the design is making it little bit oldish.
Correct. So, sir, similar was the case with tourism also, and I want to emphasize again that tourism and the localities, restaurants. So these are the areas where a lot of SHG women can be further trained and good business can be developed because now the influx of tourists is very high. And actually the benefits of that the SHG women are not able to have. Some businessmen from outside are coming and they are trying to cater to that. So there is a very high potential and viable sector. So I think that
in this segment, there is one observation that it has to be in where there's your infrastructure is better, especially your homestay and everything, where infrastructure is better. If we, give support to those groups who are near to the roads or something where people can go, people can access those homestays, will be better. So this is a caveat over here. Yes.
correct. So I think that's it, sir. We have one more slide, I think, sir. Next slide, you see, or this was the last. Yeah, so this was the last.
You didn't tell about floriculture and horticulture.
Yeah, so flori because of the lack of time, sir. But I think floriculture and horticulture also, both of them were found to be profitable when we talk to the stakeholders. But again, because of the not very developed proper marketing channels, they had a less what you call viability, and also people were not trained much. So only few women were undertaking, but particularly in Chamoli, so
Yeah.
there is an opportunity. So
Situation is, sir.
Yeah, so I think so this was in brief presentation, but the detailed thing is there in the report. So any further comments or any suggestions, I think will be welcome. And Saibal sir, if you want to add something.
It's fine. It's fine. Let us hear from them also. Although we in the past lot we have got the observations, we have worked on it and once again resubmitted. Major area is your infrastructure and your this capacity gap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can request Madam Swati to kindly give her opinion on all those things, because I think she has already written to you once.
Yes.
That I think of the things you have already done, but still I would ask her to just identify what are the gaps and just to summarize what you have said.
Sir, as per the revised report, most of the thing you have already added in that report. Only our one suggestion is that the last chapter regarding the findings, you have identified some 4-5 major sector district wise, like in Tehri and Chamoli, in which more training or potential is there for SHG members. So one thing which we suggest like that, if you give some specific like okay, you have identified the activities, suppose tourism or food processing, but if you also indicate some clusters, like in which clusters, like in Chamoli districts, in which particular cluster, what kind of activity we can take, means we can focus or we can plan some training interventions, and which are the means players or which are the agencies which we can rope in for the further to take up these findings for training, or which we can approach, the SHG members can approach for training, or from NABARD side we can also do some convergence with that agency available in that districts for that particular sectors. So some specific suggestions or recommendation from your side we want.
So you are looking for geography specific or this partnership, your training, which kind of training, then kind of partnership.
Yeah, like suppose like in Chamoli district, at particular which cluster or some which villages we can identify for purpose, and which villages we can floriculture like that.
We have identified the different 3-4 trades or sector in each district. For those sectors, which are the areas, cluster here means which are the area where we can focus and concentrate on in those sectors in those.
And also, I think you want to, who will be the partners? Like there are some NGOs who are already undertaking some trainings. Who will be those skill partners in that?
Currently, sir, in most of the thing, I think you have to focus more on the agri and allied sector. I think in rural area, handicraft and handlooms, the handicraft particularly, requires more attention because of the many of the government schemes also, and skill can be developed individual and group basis, and they can do the entrepreneurship. What we focused on, agriculture and horticulture and hospitality is good, but I think you have missed that link. What I can find from the PPT. Secondly, you have mentioned one here: 50% of women have not taken the loan, whether it is voluntarily not taken or not, loan is not accessible to them. We can just comment on that so that we can also focus, because any business loan is required, credit linkage is required, because purpose of the program SHG bank linkage. So can you just focus on that also? What is the constraint for not availing the loan? Whether it's a voluntary basis or they are not able to access the loan, or whether there is any constraint from bank side. So that will be better if you can focus on that also.
Yes, sir. We have made some comments, but we'll further detail it out, sir, because as you rightly pointed out, it's mostly voluntary because the banks don't deny loans to them, and also because of that forward linkages were not there. In the past, they had undertaken some small activities and they could not find the market, so they are not taking up some little larger loan. But I think it's there in the report, but we'll further detail it out, sir, and the reason also will tell.
And handloom and handicrafts, it is already there and in a very significant way. Handloom, handicrafts, and your this tourism.
Things, sir. Horticulture, agriculture is its own traditional basis. That is a new area where one can, because many of the landless people are there. So that is the area where you can focus on for the increase in income.
Now, when we are looking forward for Lakpati Didis, that can also be one of the areas where we can concentrate on. Yeah.
Also, one more point. Just
yes,
I don't
please.
know whether this you might have included in the detailed report. But whatever, when we are suggesting about certain trainings, at the same time, if we can also identify the probable marketing ways, how we ultimately, if they do something, so what can be the channel for marketing, whether any agencies they can approach or something like that. So that would be, ultimately the end user of all those things will be that, so that they do something and they also get a price for what they do. So that would be an added thing, something training plus activities, and the outcome, it will be out also, because NABARD is also doing, 50 to 60 trainings per year, the entire state. And most of the time, what happens that ultimately they are not able to find the market. We tried handicraft, we tried all those things. So sometimes what happens that they are not getting the marketing channel.
Very much, very much.
If that can be also taken care of, so that will be an added advantage to us also, as well as, it will also enter this thing.
Agree, totally agree, totally
yes,
agree.
Sir.
One of
as I mentioned also, sir, that yes, you also rightly pointed out that was the clear-cut gap, that only providing training and then leaving them. But then, as you told that, yes, linking them with certain programs like there will be melas, so where they will send their produce. So we'll provide details of what are the melas that are happening, what are the wholesale markets in Dehradun, or how they can approach there. So I think few comments are there, but we'll detail it out a little bit more, sir, as per our knowledge.
I mean, you're very right. That marketing is one of the things when we are talking about this partnership. Already, ma'am told that partnership. So one of the partner is definitely the this forward linkage partners, that how to put it in the market and what kind of challenges are there. Definitely will do that one. And capacity building, if you see our this mismatch one, that one, it is clearly depicting that the training programs being imparted were not need based. It was not really felt need one. It was we have to do it, so we have done it. It is not with
isolation.
Yeah, so it is not with wrong will, but there was this mismatch was there. Possibly we couldn't do the need analysis and training need assessment or something. We didn't do that one in a better way. So for that reason, that gap, that's what actually we wanted to put there to show that not only this your training, it has to be really need based. Otherwise, people will take this one and they won't even go for that production. They won't even explore for your this forward partnership if it is not need based, if it is not felt based. So that's what we wanted to show, that there is training gap.
And we also will be advising you if you I mean come across something else also that can be also a part of the report. We also will be discussing it further.
Right.
I think we need to wind up also because somebody is waiting for us from our head office.
Yes.
One more VC is there, sir.
No, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. We will send in 1 week of time. We will submit the final report with your observations. Everything.
Oh,
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
WhatsApp